Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Thursday night. Happy NFL honors to you as that's currently going on. Justin Jefferson has just won the first award. We all survived Kelly Clarkson's Open. And now we can talk a little bit about Super Bowl 57 since there's a lot of other stuff going on in the league tonight. Looking forward to doing our Super Bowl preview. We don't often get to kind of divert from the Tennessee Titans, but since this will be our really only opportunity to preview the Super Bowl, we'll of course talk about it at some point afterwards next week. Thought we'd dive into these two teams and some good Greg Cosell analysis that I know you're going to enjoy. Before we get started tonight, need you guys to share this show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. If you are hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That is in the bottom left. YouTube or Twitch, like Jacob Ray, you like the video, you subscribe to the channel. If you've done both of those things, you tell a friend, that'd be swell. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us all throughout the course of the week. And as more of you guys trickle in, we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Superbook Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, and I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by our friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford 2023 model year Fords available right now at the dealership in Mount Juliet. Go to tworiversford.com for your new Ford. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Gary Ashton has your dream address without the stress. They'll put you in a position to succeed with that Intel edge you need. GaryAshton.com is where you go. Superbook Sports, wager on the big game coming up this weekend in the Superbook Sports app. All your favorite odds boost and promo bets can be found at superbook.com. And of course, True Math Fitness in the Gulch. This is our last primetime show until 200 by Super Bowl. So we're going to have to pull this thing off. True Math Fitness has helped us do so. TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free. So as you look at the discussion around these two teams, there's going to be a lot of different things, right? But mostly, I think this game, for me, with zero rooting interest, and maybe we'll call this, and maybe this would have been a better title, a Titans fans rooting interest to the Super Bowl. You look at the circumstance for these two teams, and I think for me, it's about legacy. It's about legacy in a variety of different ways. Legacy for guys like A.J. Brown, who is playing in his first Super Bowl with the opportunity to, have a big performance against the best competition in the league. The opportunity for Patrick Mahomes, who's won one Super Bowl, will play now in 3 and has a great chance to improve his surefire Hall of Fame status. Jalen Hurts, Andy Reid, so many different legacy opportunities at this point where you're looking around and saying, okay, how much can these two teams and people associated with these two teams differentiate themselves with a win? We're going to talk about that together. It's your Two Rivers Ford take to start the show. In the comments on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, the place that you need to go, or the question that you need to answer, whose legacy is most impacted with a Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 57. Let me know in the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, and we'll talk about it together right after I remind you that your Two Rivers Ford take is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford always sells all new non-specialty Ford vehicles below MSRP. Go to tworiversford.com. So, looking at the circumstance for these two squads, who's kind of the legacy discussion revolve the most around? I think it's a fascinating conversation from a variety of different reasons as Nick Bosa wins the Defensive Player of the Year, Justin Jefferson Offensive Player of the Year so far as we're live viewing NFL honors with you at this point. I think that for all the different ways that you look at this thing, and all the different ways that you can talk about this game, I think the person whose legacy most comes up is Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes, with an opportunity to win his second Super Bowl in 3 Super Bowl appearances, would be massive for a dude who's only 27 years old and who figures to be around for a very, very long time in games like these.
I'm looking for early in the game for the Chiefs to come out and throw the ball very rhythmically, because you don't want to get stuck with that D line getting amped up early. And I think Patrick Mahomes, because it's in his DNA very often to move when he doesn't need to, and oftentimes he'll make great plays when he does that, but at times he can get a little reckless. And I think you want to control that early in the game. And I think you'll see quick game, you'll see RPO, you'll see the ball out of his hands quickly. You'll see them try to frustrate that D line because they're not going to get to him. And I think they'll mix in screens, they'll mix in, some of their, I hate using the word gimmick because with Andy Reid, it never feels like a gimmick. It feels like it's just, an addition to what they normally do,
Sure.
So I think you'll see some of that. But I think they'll try to channel Mahomes a little bit early, let him get into the flow of the game, and then he'll do, what Patrick Mahomes does. Because it's in his DNA to move. But I think early you want to channel that. Because you don't want him to start with deep drops and feel like the rush is becoming a factor. Look, I can tell you for a fact, people might not remember this, but when they lost to the Bucks, was it 2 or 3 years ago in the Super Bowl?
2020.
2020. There you go. And I could show you the plays. Everybody just says, "Oh, Bucks D line dominated," and they overall did. But I went through that very carefully, and there were 4 or 5 plays in that game where Mahomes left the pocket early and left throws on the field, including an 85-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill. And I think Andy's very aware of that. He knows what Patrick is, and Patrick's great. That's not my point. And I hope people don't listen and go, "Oh, you don't like Patrick Mahomes." No, that's not my point at all. But I think you want to get Mahomes into the game, get rid of the football, let him get a feel for the game, and then he can be Patrick Mahomes doing his thing. You don't want to start off the game with him running around. He's going to do that anyway.
So that's Greg Cosell's analysis of Patrick Mahomes. I think it's massive for his legacy at this point. And we've talked about this dude in so many different ways, but he continues to impress. With starts by both Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts, it would mark the youngest combined age by starting quarterbacks in a Super Bowl. Mahomes is 27 years and 148 days old. Hurts is 24 years old. Think about that. And 189 days old. So a combined age of 51 years. That's just barely younger than Tom Brady at this, or barely older than Tom Brady at this stage of the game. For Patrick Mahomes, we know what's at stake. Andy Reid has, the opportunity to get another Super Bowl on his track record. That's not lost on anybody. Mahomes has had 13 postseason touchdown passes just to Travis Kelce alone, who may make an appearance later on in this show. It's only trailing Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski for the most postseason touchdowns between a quarterback receiver pairing, not just a wide receiver, but a pass catcher pairing in NFL history. So for Mahomes, we know what that opportunity is, but the question becomes, well, let's read some of your comments on this. Watching that, MB says, that's what I said too. Hurry up offense and quick throws for the first couple of series to tire Philly's defensive line out. The problem with Philly's defensive line, they go 10 deep legitimately on that rotation. We were talking about that on the radio show today. They bolstered it with Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph when Jordan Davis was hurt right before the Titans game. Ended up paying big dividends for them. Now they have a significantly deeper rotation and obviously have drafted quality players as well. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup because the offensive line for Kansas City has gotten slightly better, but it's not very good. Eric Garth says he's rooting for the Eagles just because I can't stand the Cowboys. Chiefs are the team to beat in our conference. I'm rooting for AJ to get a Super Bowl ring. I think most rational people are rooting for AJ to get a Super Bowl ring at this point. We'll get into more of these right after I remind you that Primetime is made possible by the fine folks at the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. They will help you sell your home for more at GaryAshton.com. The Intel Edge is what they provide that helps you sell your home without any showings or staging, helps you sell your current home while you find your next one in this red hot Nashville real estate market helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity right now. Everybody else is going through the same properties, working with the same information. Not you. You're smart. You're going to go to GaryAshton.com and get the intel edge you need to succeed. Trust the Ashton team at GaryAshton.com. So I think most rational people would root for A.J. Brown to get a Super Bowl. Why? For what at this point? I don't get why there's still any animosity other than, you get butthurt when he trolls you on Twitter. And okay, I get that. Everybody can get a little emotionally raw on Twitter. We make stupid decisions. We say dumb things, and we get in our feels about stuff. It's okay. But I think that at this point, most rational people are looking at that this way. See, this is why you guys are. This is why you guys crack me up. There's people talking about that fake report about the Titans parting ways with Tannehill in the comment section when obviously we're doing a Super Bowl show. Jesse Bailey says, Tennessee, please go for Derek Carr this offseason and let Tannehill go to Minnesota. Jesse, respectfully, I hope you're drinking, because if you think that Derek Carr with a worse offensive line situation and a worse wide receiver situation right now would do better than Ryan Tannehill has, I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul, because Jesus, you must not have watched what your football team looked like this season. And more importantly, you must not have watched Derek Carr, who is not a good player at this stage of his career. He had a lot more opportunities to succeed. You can blame it on the coaching if you like. It's not all coaching. Derek Carr is past his prime. Derek Carr may not be a starting quarterback in football at this stage. I think that he's a very, very good backup, maybe a bridge starter in the Andy Dalton role of things. And I think Ryan Tannehill is still substantially better than that right now. Let's see. Derek Carr has what? He's a trader? TRAD, like Trader Joe's? What are you talking about, Jesse? Maybe there is, in fact, alcohol being involved. Maybe this is indeed the case. Okay, we're good. Let's keep it moving on this primetime Thursday night. The question that I would like to ask you next on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch: what's the best matchup in Super Bowl 57 between the Eagles and the Chiefs? You can go either side of the ball that you choose. What's the best matchup that stands out to you? You're going to hear more Greg Cosell analysis momentarily, right after I remind you that the primetime show is presented by Superbook Sports. Wager on the big game, the Superbook. The Superbook app is the best place to do so for the football title tilt. Nobody has a better menu of prop bets than Superbook Sports. You can check out their special odds boost and promotions at superbook.com. They've got 3 decades of odds-making experience in Vegas. There's no better place to wager than Superbook Sports. So win some money as one lucky team wins the championship. Download the Superbook app today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. So, who stands or where do the best matchups lie at this point? Corey Smith says Mahomes versus the Eagles defense. You heard some Greg Cosell analysis of that just now. Stephen King says the KC defensive line versus the Birds offensive line. And honestly, Stephen, that's where my attention would gravitate as well.
Obviously, the Eagles O-line, arguably the best in the league. And we saw when they played the Niners, there were individual plays where it just seemed like they mauled guys who were 315, 320 pounds. We can all probably visualize Javon Kinlaw just being moved, Armstead being moved, individual plays where it just looked bad if you were a fan of the 49ers. And I'm sure they'll have some of those plays again. I'm struggling with the idea that they're just going to dominate, though, and maybe they will. And, I think much depends on the Hurts factor, because with Hurts, when he's in the gun, which is 99% of the snaps, when you're in a normal down and distance situation, 1st and 10, 2nd and 4, there's so many different plays that can come from Hurts being in the gun with an offset back. And for all we know, they just make a play call, because look, this whole idea that a quarterback is, when the ball snapped, is choosing one of 4 plays as the ball snapped. That's just not true. That's impossible to do. So they could simply call a play, but because of formation, because of the Hurts factor, you're getting the defense aligned in certain ways. You're getting them reacting to certain things. So it's really difficult. That's one reason why the Eagles' run game, Buck, has been so good this year, because there's so many things that can come from Hurts in the gun with an offset back that it's just hard for the defense.
So I think there's a lot of different ways that the Eagles are going to try and attack the Chiefs defense, because we all know what Steve Spagnuolo is. Going to play cover two in these certain circumstances. You're going to see him try to heat up Jalen Hurts. They're going to send pressure in a way that teams like the Titans do not typically, right? They try to win with 7 in coverage and win with their best 4 up front. TJ Stewart official says 2 years ago, with good receiving and tight ends, A.J. Brown and Jonnu Smith, he led us to a conference championship game. 2 bad years with a very uncreative offensive coordinator and absolutely no receiving core. And we forget. I don't know what TJ's talking about. I assume he's talking about Mike Vrabel. See, Robert, damn it. I told you we should have put Titans in the title. They just want to talk Titans. And I get that. This is a largely Titans-centric audience. But the matchup is going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it at this point. Weekend bounce back. Now, we could do this a variety of different ways, but it is the Super Bowl at this point. So I'm going to ask you guys this question in the comments on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, and then we'll let you get back to NFL honors. Who would you bet on in Super Bowl N57 at this point? Now, I had mistakenly formulated the question as who would you bet on, and I had meant to say who would you bet on for Super Bowl MVP, but Robert has come up with creative bets anyway at this point, as Garrett Wilson wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now we're going to see who wins Defensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. A lot of highlights for Tariq Woolen of the Seattle Seahawks, who's an incredible player, but I almost think it has to go to Sauce Gardner. Meanwhile, who would you bet on in Super Bowl 57? Let's talk about it together. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. As always, the Primetime Show presented by TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. A new way to work out, a better way to work out is TrueMav Fitness. Go to TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free. They have helped me achieve my goal of 200 by Super Bowl. We appreciate their work. They will help you do the work necessary to meet your fitness goals and needs as you seek a better and more healthy lifestyle. Their classes are never recycled or repeated, so you continue to push yourself in ways that are not physically overwhelming, but allow you to see the progress that you make on a regular basis. TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. So, as you look at the different things that you would bet on in Super Bowl 57, I think Robert has come up with some creative ones that he'd like to bring to the table. I know in particular where I would go, but let's hear from the man behind the scenes.
What's going on, Buck? I'm glad you brought me in here instead of keeping me in the shadows all day, man. I've been wasting away.
I know you're like a mushroom. We gotta give you some light every once in a while.
Give me a little spritz and I'll be okay. But you talked about bets, so I popped up. If you're going to bet on people, in my opinion, you might as well bet on the good ones, right? There's no need to pour your hard-earned money, you stay up late working at the drugstore, into somebody that's going to be a long shot. You might as well bet long shots on the best guys. So we got the basics right here. Travis Kelce, 6.5 receptions, over under. Reception yards are at 79.5, and longest reception is at 22.5. But that's boring. Like, anybody can come up and say, yeah, I think he's going to get a lot of yards. Well, let's get a lot of yards and win a little bit of money and have some fun doing it. To catch multiple touchdowns. So Travis Kelce catching 2 touchdowns, that's plus 310. If he's going to catch one, he's probably going to catch another one. Don't listen to me. I don't have a lot of money. I'm probably only going to bet a little bit of money on this. But if you want to make some money, plus 310. Another one I like is first and last touchdown. If he scores the first touchdown or he scores the last touchdown, either way you bet it, it's plus 675.
So looking at Travis Kelce's numbers, just to provide some more context. So he enters Super Bowl 57. This is courtesy of the NFL, who sends us a handy dandy little media guide every year. Enters Super Bowl 57 ranked second in receptions, 127, and receiving yards, 1,467. Tied for second in touchdown receptions, 15 in postseason history. The only player that he trails in all three categories is Jerry Mother Bleeping Rice. So any prop bets that you're betting with Travis Kelce, especially this year when Mahomes targets him this much, feel like you're going to have the opportunity to make some money on some Travis Kelce bets.
Let's get a little risky, right? It's the Super Bowl. You might as well throw all your money in. What are you going to bet on the rest of your baseball? Come on, let's be real. To win MVP. Now we had a brief conversation about this earlier in the day. A tight end has never won MVP. I like that. I like that a lot because who else in history are you more likely to bet on to win MVP as a tight end than Travis Kelce? I
Gronk.
trust that dude. He's the only thing I would not trust him to do is take my girlfriend out on a date. Everything else, I think he could do.
He says he refutes the reports of his cheapness, but that is a story that was definitely on the internet.
Somebody who is not cheap, Drake. Drake placed two separate bets, and these bets parlayed together for the Super Bowl MVP to be a tight end, which would also give you a little wiggle room with Dallas Goedert on the other side, coupled with Travis Kelce to be MVP. He bet $60,000 to win $500,000. Now, I don't have that kind of bankroll, but I could put a little change on it. I could check in my couch. I got some nickels we could rub together and make a little bit of money.
It sounds like you need those nickels and dimes to make sure that you can get water in your apartment, which
it's set up. The water's set up now, but if anybody wants to set a GoFundMe, I will take some cash.
Let's not pander on the show, buddy.
All right, that's fine too. Speaking of pandering, if you've got no nickels to rub together just like me and you just want to throw them into a wishing well, let me tell you which well to throw them in. Both Kelce brothers to score a touchdown pays out $20,000.
Oh my God.
You know, to put 50 cents on it. I'm not good at math. I don't know what that pays out, but it's better than what you make in a week. It's got a 0.50% chance of happening. So I like those odds.
Listen, the more risky, the more entertaining, because you are going to have some moment where somebody is going to be at your Super Bowl party, wherever you're doing it. And if you're out at a bar, if you're home with your buddies, whatever you're doing, somebody is going to be making unbelievably irresponsible prop bets and parlays for the Super Bowl. And that, by the way, is the side entertainment value to couple with the Super Bowl commercials, Rihanna, and then maybe some good football itself. Well done, Robert. I think that I am going to follow in at least part of Drake's footsteps. I'm going to bet on Travis Kelce to win Super Bowl MVP.
I appreciate you. How about this beautiful trophy? Huh? Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party! I knew he was going to be up for one more of those.
What a stud.
Insane.
What a stud. You sending me out of here or what?
I am. Get out of here.
Shadows! Ah!
The digital shadows are not as clean. We have to figure out a better way to do it. But it still makes me laugh, no matter how many times we do it or what show we do it on. Anyway, that's going to do it for our Super Bowl preview show. Enjoy the rest of NFL Honors. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We will let you know what our Super Bowl Sunday night plans are going to be. I don't necessarily think it's in the best interest of the show to go up against Rihanna. And if we wait until after the Super Bowl, it'd be somewhere between 9 and 9:30. And I don't know how I feel about that. So we will let you know on social media what the primetime plan is for Sunday night. Meantime, have a spectacular last weekend of football. And we will talk to you at some point next week on A to Z Sports Prime Time. But don't forget, Mike Vrabel's on the radio show tomorrow. Titans head coach. Got a lot of questions for him. And Coach Mack. Talk more ball then. See you guys.
Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.